Today, we're talking about Junior Motorsports and if the opportunity comes, should they come up to the Cup Series in 2023 or 2024? Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. Now, for many years, there's been a massive question about Junior Motorsports if they were going to join Cup. This really started all the way back in 2010, where there was potential indication they were going to jump up 2010 or 2011, but they declined back then in 2010 and 2011 due to the Hendrick Association. And for many years, there have been a lot of questions around Junior Motorsports jumping up to Cup. And really up until about a year or two ago, Dale Jr. has declined that he did not want to jump his team up to the Cup Series in the future. That'll change this past year in 2021 when indications started beginning in 2021 in April after Josh Berry picked up his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory at Martinsville. There was some talk and indication that Junior Motorsports was potentially looking to jump up to the Cup Series as early as 2022. There were multiple reports from people like Adam Stern and Bob Poggers talking about how Junior Motorsports was looking to jump up to the Cup Series. But those talks for 2022 kind of unfortunately stopped due to the type of and the money coming from the charters. Now, at the time, at the beginning of 2021, I believe charters cost around $6 million. But what if we found out, and Junior reported this on his Dale Jr. download show, Dale Jr. said that the charters cost each per car racing $10 million each. Not like $6 million. No, not $10 million altogether for both charters. No, it cost $10 million each for both of the college charters that they got for Spire Motorsports during the Nashville weekend. They got $10 million each. That's how much basically they bought from Spire Motorsports. Spire Motorsports had a lot of money, and basically they were willing to sell it to College, who also had a lot of money. And that's when basically talks for them stopped, and that was one reason they decided not to jump up the Cup. And it does not mean at this time that Junior Motorsports has not denied, and it's not denied, that they're not even looking at potentially jumping. Because there's actually was a talk back this summer, back I think in June or July, that Junior Motorsports is still considering a jump up into the Cup Series as early as 2023. But they're going to need some stuff to be able to do that. They're talking about potentially jumping up to the Cup Series as early as 2023. And I think it's very possible to do that. But if Junior Motorsports is going to jump up to the Cup Series in 2023, if they do decide to jump up, what are they going to need in order to jump up to the Cup Series? The first thing they're going to need is I think they potentially may have to lead the Hendrick Association. I know there's potentially some loopholes they potentially could go around, but I would think Rick Hendrick would have to get off the ownership side of Junior Motorsports. He would have to lead the Junior Motorsports ownership because Rick Hendrick is an owner of Junior Motorsports, and Rick Hendrick would have to lead. That does not mean that Junior Motorsports cannot be associated with Hendrick Motorsports. Junior Motorsports can still be associated with Hendrick. Rick Hendrick would just have to take his name off of the listing. It would have to be just Dale and Kelly running the organization. Rick Hendrick's team, Rick Hendrick and his affiliation would have to leave the organization, except they can still be affiliated with the team. Another major key thing is going to be charters in 2023. Right now, there are only 36 charters that are currently available. And as of right now, going to 2023, it's not very likely that charters are going to be available. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go to a smaller team like a Rick Ware Racing or like a JTG Dory Racing, and they're going to have to acquire a charter from a smaller organization. And unfortunately, what has happened right now is that there's a lot of really good up-and-coming teams right now that basically are wanting to keep their charters. And I'm not expecting some of these smaller teams like a Rick Ware Racing or a Live Fast Motorsports, even like Aspire, to drop any of their charters. Now, that's the only team I think maybe they could get a charter from, Aspire Motorsports, because again, they're going to have 2 charters this year. That would be the only way I think that they would be able to do it. But does Aspire Motorsports want to give up a second charter in order to give it to Junior Motorsports? That's going to be a big question. And the final thing is going to be cars. Now, over time with the next-gen cars are going to cost a lot less. But at the beginning, the upfront cost for next-gen cars is going to cost a ton of money. And Junior Motorsports is going to need, and Junior is going to need a lot of funds all around. Junior's team is going to want to spend a lot of money. And Dale Jr. is not willing to spend $10 to $12 million even on the charter side of things. That being said, though, if there's enough money and stuff into Junior Motorsports and they are willing to make this move, they definitely could do it. They're just going to need funds. And Junior has said that if we see the charters to decrease and we see things happen, change, he potentially could do it as early as 2023 as a possibility for Junior Motorsports to jump out of Cup Series. So that's one thing that they are going to need. Now, Junior Motorsports does decide to jump up to the Cup Series as early as 2023 or 2024. What drivers would be up for consideration to drive for Junior Motorsports? The first one, no intended, is Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson has been driving for Junior Motorsports since the 2019 season, has picked up, I believe, he's picked up 5 career NASCAR Xfinity Series victories, 3 last year in 2021, I think, and also got 2 in 2020 as well, and was pretty consistent throughout the year to make it to the Final Four. Did not start off really, really well in 2021, but as the year progressed, he did really, really good and almost had a chance to really, really overcome and win a championship in 2021. Noah Gragson, like I mentioned, will be in his 4th year at Junior Motorsports. Now, there is potential that Noah Gragson may not be available if Junior Motorsports jumps up to the Cup due to the fact that Noah Gragson has made a ton of starts with College Racing this past year. As a matter of fact, Noah Gragson in 2022 is going to be making 14 races with College Racing, starts in the Cup Series with College Racing in 2022, and 1 start with Beer Motorsports. Maybe potentially more if he runs all 4 races at Beer Motorsports, but there's talk that he may jump going College Racing in the near future, and he has the funding to do it. Cure Token is sponsoring him, I believe, at Kansas, and of course he has that Bass Pro Shop sponsorship. But if he does not decide to go to College Racing, I think that if you were going to start up a team in Cup Series, Noah Gragson would definitely be a really, really good driver to wrap your hands around. Of course, Noah Gragson could also go to JT Doherty Racing if they go to a 2-car team. There's talk long-term that JT Doherty could eventually go back to a 2-car team. So Noah Gragson definitely would be a good driver to start around. That's the first driver I would consider. The second driver that I would consider is Josh Berry. Josh Berry will be driving full-time with Junior Motorsports this year in 2022. Josh Berry picked up 2 career NASCAR Xfinity Series races, win victories last year, both of those coming at Las Vegas and Martinsville. And Josh Berry was extremely consistent. On intermediate tracks, he was very, very impressive and very, very solid. And I think that Josh Berry in 2022 could be an underdog to win the championship. I think he easily will make the Final Four this year. I know that's really high expectations, but you have to remember we're going to have I believe Martinsville's in the Xfinity Series as the second last race again. And he's going to have a lot of big chances to go out there and win at Martinsville. And not to mention, Josh Berry is a driver that I think is extremely talented. He gets the best out of his equipment. I think he's going to do really, really well. And he has made some Cup starts for Spire Motorsports. I think he made 1 or 2 Cup starts for Spire Motorsports in 2021. Of course, that was due to COVID-19 protocols, why he made those starts. But Josh Berry does have some starts in the Cup Series as well, so he does have a little bit of Cup experience. Plus, I think he's another driver that if you're going to start a team around, I think that would be a great position. Third driver that I think that would be considered is Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier actually has a lot of Cup experience. He actually drove in the Cup Series in 2014 and 2015, I believe, for H. Scott Motorsports. And while he didn't do absolutely incredible, he did have some pretty solid runs and was actually the only driver really in the history of that team, their short history. He was the only driver in that team's history to really perform above average and do pretty well. He ran like 24 to 25 points both years. Considering Michael Annett struggled, he actually did pretty well. Clint Boyer struggled with the team, and Michael Annett struggled with the team over the years. And now is, of course, this is the case if Justin Allgaier wants to jump up the Cup. I'm not sure if Justin Allgaier is ultimately going to want to make a return to the Cup Series on a full-time basis to help the development of Junior Motorsports. Maybe he goes on a part-time starts and does that. But Justin Allgaier definitely, I think, would be considered. The fourth driver that I think would absolutely be considered is young upcoming star Sam Mayer. Now, Sam Mayer is definitely lower on my totem pole because of how he ran in 2021. Sam Mayer in the 2021 NASCAR Xfinity Series absolutely struggled. He had a lot of really, really bad runs. He had some good runs. I think he finished in the top 5 at Richmond and had some top 5s and some top 10 runs throughout the Xfinity Series season. But he got rushed up into the deep end in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and absolutely struggled. That does not mean that Sam Mayer is a bad driver. I just think that with his inexperience, he has not been able to perform very, very well. And I think that with practice having come back in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year pretty much, even though it's going to be only like warm-ups, those warm-ups are definitely going to help him throughout the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series season, and we'll probably get some select Truck Series starts throughout the year as well. I think Sam Mayer could potentially 2023 make some select Cup starts if they go through a rotation. So Sam Mayer will be another driver. And a final driver that I think would be considered potentially make some starts for this team, why not Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has ruled out the possibility of racing in the Cup Series, at least for the Daytona 500. But why not have Dale Jr. do a one-off or a 2-race return in the Cup Series in like 2023 or 2024 with Budweiser on the car? We know very recently that Budweiser has basically been saying, let's talk to Dale Jr. about maybe working then, since Dale Jr. said that he wished he worked with Budweiser a lot more. Very recently, Dale Earnhardt Jr., I believe they're currently maybe discussing about grabbing some beers and stuff and maybe doing some endorsement deals and stuff. Why not have Budweiser maybe potentially work with this team long term down the road? And why not have Budweiser become the official branding and work with Dale Earnhardt Jr. to make a couple select starts in the Cup Series? I know a lot of people wanted to make a return, but why not Dale Earnhardt Jr.? And then another wild rumor and a wild driver that I was maybe consider, why not make Greg Biffle have like a 1-race or 2-race return? Why not? Greg Biffle, there's a lot of talk behind the scenes currently as we speak about Greg Biffle potentially driving for NY Racing in this year's Daytona 500. And Greg Biffle, I'm not sure how he's going to do, but Greg Biffle's 52 years old. He just won a Truck Series race literally 2 years ago with KBM and didn't do amazing with Darlington with GMS, but he did drive for GMS the last time he raced, and there's talk about him making a return in the NASCAR Cup Series. So Greg Biffle will definitely be another driver that would absolutely be considered if they were to jump up to the Cup Series long term down the road. Overall, here are my thoughts. Should Junior Motorsports jump up to the Cup Series? Absolutely yes. I think if Junior Motorsports jumps up the Cup Series, I think it will be overall a very, very good move for the sport. One, it's going to create a lot of headlines and a lot of talking points because you're going to have Dale Earnhardt Jr., arguably the person who's been carrying the sport and been the most popular person in our sport, one of the most well-known people inside our sport for the last 20 to 25 years. You're going to have Dale Earnhardt Jr. bring his own Cup Series team. That's going to create a lot of headlines and a lot of excitement. Another big thing, of course, is if Junior Mason starts in the Cup Series again, that's going to be a very, very key thing. But what the question is, will it happen is unclear. Will Junior Motorsports make that jump? I think that there's a very strong possibility that they're going to. Like I said, there's been talk about Junior Motorsports potentially jumping up into Cup Series as early as 2023, but we don't entirely know Junior Motorsports is going to make that jump. That's one question we're not going to know. Another big question is, how do I think Junior Motorsports will go? I think at least in the first year of Junior Motorsports, if they jump up, I think they're only going to be a one-car organization. But I think for the first year, I think it'll be a team of rotation of drivers from the NASCAR Xfinity Series program. People like Noah Gragson, unless, of course, if Noah Gragson does end up going over to College Racing, Noah Gragson I think would make some starts with Junior Motorsports. I think Josh Berry would make some starts. I think Junior, if he came back, maybe Greg Biffle would make some starts, and Justin Allgaier, and I think it would be like a rotation over time. But I think over time, I think you'll see basically them expand to a 2 or 3 car operation and be a team. And I think long term down the road, well, I think as of right now, charters are going to matter. Who knows what's going to happen to the charter system after 2024? I think it's still going to end up being a thing past 2024. But right now, there's not a lot of talk about them extending the RTA stuff past 2024 currently at the moment right now. So it's unclear if charters will be a thing a few years down the road. But one thing I will say about charters is that charters, the amount of money it's going to cost for a charter, that's probably going to decrease here over the years. I don't think it's going to cost $15 to $16 million to get a charter. And look at Petty GMS. They've only bought their charter for 12, 13. I think they've only bought their charters for like $9 million. Yes, 23XI bought theirs for like 12 or 13. But I do think that charters are going to cost a lot less over time. And I think that those values are going to go down. The reason they were up is because teams were selling and stuff. So do I think it will happen? Yes. Should they make the move? Absolutely. Who knows what will happen long term down the road, but I think that if Junior Motorsports has the potential opportunity to jump up to the Cup Series, I think they should take that chance, and hopefully maybe in the future we'll see Junior Motorsports make that jump to jump up to the Cup Series in the future. So anyway, that's for today's special NASCAR video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to notifications to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go jump below for that, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. Do you think that Junior Motorsports should jump up to the Cup Series in 2023? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think they should or not? Let's see what happens down the road. We're very, very close to the start of the NASCAR season. We're only about 8 or 9 days away, and we're also currently, as you're probably watching, is the Rolex 24 is going on. I might do a race review from the Rolex 24 right at the conclusion of the race. I'm not sure if I'll get every fact from the race right, but I'm planning to try to stay up for all 24 hours and watch this year's Rolex 24. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but the Rolex 24 is going on. I definitely think you should all be watching it because it's going to be all 24 hours. But anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's special NASCAR video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR and other motorsports content on the channel like this. We're very close to the start of the season. I'm really excited to get this season rolling. Take care, everybody.